everyone. Good morning and welcome. So this is the first lesson in this elective English for IT. So today we'll be going over the course content and then we'll be getting into what we need to do in this first lesson. Yeah. So this is a departmental elective for all computer science students, and it's also a true elective, an optional elective for those of you who are not computer engineers. So about the course, then 100% of this course is a final exam, and in that final exam you can use this booklet, you can use any website, you can use your notes. It's what we call an open book exam. Yeah. So there's no reason, there's no excuses for failing this elective. Yeah, any website in the exam is okay. You can use this booklet, you can use your notes. We're giving you every opportunity to pass this elective. Right, so we've got about 14 lessons. So we'll start today with lesson 1, the history of computers. The next lesson, the first 6 lessons are really quite straightforward. Yes, all about vocabulary, word processing, Office vocab, operating system vocab, computer hardware network vocab. So the first 6 lessons are very accessible. From lessons 7 onwards, it gets much more challenging. Understanding TCP/IP logic gates, counting systems is very interesting but quite challenging. The ASCII table, and then programming languages, and we finish off with a practice assessment. Yeah. To enroll for this course, you must have passed Reading 2 and English for Maths. Those are the current prerequisites at the moment. And we're using version 34.8 of the booklet. To go through the booklet, towards the back, if we go from the back up. So this is lesson 12. Lesson 13. Lesson 13 finishes with a revision crossword. And then at the back of the booklet, we've got a vocab glossary. Yeah, so a lot of useful, a lot of interesting vocab that you should be familiar with. That you should be familiar with receptively, even if you can't use this vocab in production. So vocab that you can understand when you read or listen, when you hear it or read it, but maybe it's vocab that maybe you're not so confident using in your speech or in your writing. Yeah? So this is vocab for that purpose. And there's a few pages of this. It's worth printing the booklet out, and it's worth highlighting any vocab that you plan on learning or that you have already learned. And there's space at the end to add your own vocab, yeah, that's not in this list, that maybe you've discovered and would like to study. There's a practice assessment at the end of the booklet. This is identical to the Schoology quiz that you'll find on Schoology. And this is very, very similar in format to the final exam. Yeah. So in the final exam, there's a section on vocab, and there are about 6 questions. There's a section on hardware components, and there are 2 questions. There's a section on logic gates in the final exam, and it's worth about 15 points, and so on and so on. So this practice assessment mirrors the final exam to a large extent. Yeah. And then at the very back of the booklet, we've got the answers to the practice assessment. Yeah. If you do believe that any of these answers are incorrect or if anything is missing, please post a reply, post a comment on this video. Okay, so these are all YouTube videos. If you believe that something is incorrect or at any point, if you want any clarification on anything that goes on in these lessons, post a comment on the video. Yeah, on YouTube, and I then get an automatic notification of that comment, and I can then reply to that. And what's useful about that mechanism is that those comments then stay there, so the next student who sees this video next term or 2 terms later and we'll still be able to see that comment, and we'll still be able to see my reply to that comment. So whereas on Schoology, we have courses, we have sections for one term, and then that goes into the archive. These videos can serve as a running kind of commentary on what problems students have faced, what clarity what clarity they need. Right, okay, so lesson 1, history of computers. So we've got a timeline of events. Okay, and what I'd like you to do, study the timeline, and can you guess the approximate year for these 5 events? Yeah. So have a look at the timeline. Study it in some detail. Any difficult vocab, ask your partner, ask your dictionary. Try not to get too hung up on every word that you don't understand. Yeah. So if there are a few words, then fine, use your dictionary, but let's not use our dictionary every 10 seconds. So read these and then try to get an idea of where might this have fit in. Okay, so Grace Hopper develops the first computer language, so it's not going to be here. Yeah, the first computer language didn't happen between these 2 dates, between 2012 and 2020. Yeah. And likewise these. Yeah? So if you want to do that, pause this video, do that, and then we will check when you come back. Okay? Right, okay, well, welcome back. I just tried to open a PDF in Word, which wasn't successful. Here is the answers document. This is also on Schoology. Okay, so all of the answers are here for you, so that you can check as you go. So Grace Hopper develops the first computer language. That was around 1953. Yeah, so if you wrote that, good job. If you wrote a data close to that, okay, or a good job. The first computerized spreadsheet program, 1978. So what else happened around there? 1978. Yeah, so word processing becomes a reality. So it kind of makes sense that word processing and spreadsheets both happened kind of at the same time. Yeah. PCs start to become used as gaming machines. Okay, around 1994. Do we have any clues? Okay, so the Pentium processor, Windows 95. So around that sort of time, it's reasonable to expect computers to start to be used for gaming purposes. YouTube is founded, was in 2005. 2005. Okay, right. So now we're getting into the internet era. Yes, 2004. Firefox is released. Facebook. Facebook started. So it makes sense that it happened after this date. Yeah, probably not much after this date. Yeah, so 2005 makes a lot of sense. And Microsoft launches Windows 7. Microsoft launches Windows 7. Yes, okay, so around this sort of area. Yeah, 2007 to 2010. The task here wasn't to get exactly the correct dates. The task here was to engage with the timeline and try to approximately guess where those events would have occurred. So if you got approximately the right dates, then good job, well done with that. Right, okay, well, this lesson really does fly by. So have a look in the text again, and can you find some synonyms for these words? So 1964, first model. 1964, so here there's a synonym that means first model. Engelbart shows a prototype. Oh, what's a prototype? Prototype means first model. Yeah. So the answer to this one, synonym found, is prototype. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, if you can pause the video, go ahead and do that, and then resume the video when you're ready to continue, and we will check those answers together. And then that's really kind of lesson 1 rounded off. Okay. So pause the video, do the task, and then come back. Right, 1983, fail. 1983, to fail. So somewhere in here, there's a word that means fail. Apple's Lisa, the first personal computer with a GUI. It also features a drop-down menu and icons. It flops. Okay, so here flops, it fails. Yeah, to flop, to fail are the same thing. The first to be marked as a laptop. Okay, so to flop here. 1986, design. 1986, design. 1986. The design or the architecture. Yeah. It's 32-bit architecture. 1946 and 1975 means business. 1946. Business, I think, is commercial. Receive funding, the first commercial computer. And 1975. So in here, to rival commercial models. Yes, so to rival business models. Yeah. And yes, business here is as an adjective, not as a noun. Yeah, so commercial is the answer here. 2003, a purchaser. Oops. 2003, a purchaser or a consumer. Yeah, the consumer market. 2010, to reveal. To reveal, Apple unveils the iPad, changing the way consumers view media, jump-starting the dormant tablet computer segment. Wow. So to reveal, to unveil. Yeah, to unveil. And 2020, to introduce, to announce. Yeah. Right, what I'd like you to do for the rest of this lesson is go through this text again. Now, if there's any more vocab that's very difficult for you, that's very challenging, go through this in more detail. You can write the vocab at the back of the booklet. Yes, there's space for that. You can go through and highlight it in the booklet. It's a very good idea, even if you're working. Well, I mean, we're working with the videos on computer, but we should have this booklet printed. Yeah, we do need to make notes. We do need to annotate it. So if we can print this booklet, that will be much better for us. And of course, with the final exam, we can use the booklet. So it's much easier to have a paper booklet because the exam will be on computer. So it's much easier if we have a paper booklet side by side. We can flick through it while we're doing the exam on Schoology. Yeah. So for a number of reasons, it's a very good idea to print out the booklet. So go through any difficult vocab, highlight it, underline it, use a dictionary to better understand it, write comments in the margin. And then what I'd like you to do before the next lesson is actually go through and preview all of the lessons. Yeah? So have a look at lessons that maybe you think are more difficult or maybe more interesting, maybe they're easier and you can afford to do them more quicker. So just go through and preview all of the lessons. And see which ones maybe you need to think about spending a bit more time on and which ones you need you're confident in spending less time on. All right, well that's lesson 1. I'll see you next time for lesson 2, when we will talk about word processing vocabulary. Okay, well until then, bye bye.